Hello there everybody, this is Krista and welcome back to the Krista Chronicles. Please disregard the nail situation. Leak. It's, we're in the height. No, I wouldn't say that, well, the height of gardening season in terms of getting it ready. Exciting. I've been having so much fun. Keep tuned for my month of May video at the end of the month because I will definitely put in some garden updates there. Anyway, today we are here to look at a bit of a capsule collection, very much inspired by a new deck I've been obsessed with. Today we're going to look at all of my Fairytale decks. Now, I have a lot of decks that are, well, I've got the ones I'm going to show today that are Fairytale. I do have ones that are story themed. For today, I really focused on ones that were purely like regarded themselves as Fairytale decks. Know what I mean? So let's get into it. To start with, what inspired this video is Kate Forsyth's, oh my goodness, Fairytale Oracle. I just did a walkthrough of this. I'm obsessed. I used it pretty much all last week for my own daily readings. And it was amazing. It's gorgeous. I love, love, love the setup of it. How it works is, we've got 44 cards. How many different, 11 different fairy tales. Each of them gets 4 cards, which I think is so cool because across the 4 cards, you really get a chance to explore a lot of the different themes that go on through fairy tales. Because of course there is a main lesson most of the time, but at the same time, there's also a lot of nuance and different sorts of things going on and different lessons to learn throughout. And so I think it's really cool that you get to explore the multiple themes of the story. The artwork is gorgeous. I am obsessed with this. And it kind of got me thinking, as I was using it last week, that I feel like I've got quite a few Fairytale decks. Going through now, I realized it's not as many as I necessarily thought, but I was curious to examine them all just because I love this one so, so much. I just wanted to take a look. I love the key phrase / keyword at the bottom. Oh, it's so good. So, so good. So that is Kate Forsyth's Fairytale Oracle. I've got a bag next to me of the decks. We're just going to grab in random order. So I've got a mix of oracles and tarot here. Actually, mostly tarot, which is why I think I was so intrigued by this, because it's an oracle form. And why I want to examine these decks is I almost feel like this deck was giving me some thoughts of like, ooh, I feel like that fairy tale theme actually really works best in oracle form. However, I have some beautiful tarots as well, so I kind of just want to look at them. Let's look at this next one. This is the Once Upon a Time Tarot. Now, of these decks, this is probably the least specific, I would say. I don't know that it even points to, hold on, it's been a bit since I've used this one. Okay, so the majors do indeed point to specific fairy tales. The minors do not. But how gorgeous is this? I love the colors. I love all the characters and the art style. The pentacles, the mushroom people and the pentacles kill me. And I actually think I quite like that you just get the specific fairy tales in the majors. I feel like it makes the deck a little bit more universal because I think since the minors don't have related stories, I think you really could use this deck and in a way ignore a bit that theming if you wanted to. I don't know. I love just how like bubbly this feels. That's the word I have to describe it. I think of the ones I have, this one feels to me the easiest to just use as a tarot to be a tarot, if that makes any sort of sense. Where I don't really feel like, I think what I mean is I don't really feel like I need to get into the guidebook to sort of like uncover the relation to the stories. It feels to me like it can really just be used right out of the box if you want to. I love this chariot. I think it's beautiful. Oh my gosh, this, I haven't taken this out in so long. This really makes me want to pull it out again. It's so colorful and fun. So that is the Once Upon a Time tarot. Alright, what do we got next? Oh, let's do this big one. This one doesn't market itself as a fairy tale deck. It is the Inner Child Tarot. Ginormous cards. But I brought this one out because a lot of the cards do pull on fairy tales, not all of them. This is one that I do really like to get into the guidebook regardless, because if I am remembering correctly, there is some sort of relation to story, I think, in all of the cards. Don't quote me on that, but I love the Empress as Mother Goose. Oh, it's so good. This is one I actually even really like to use as an oracle. I think just because of the size, it's ginormous, truly ginormous, but I think it makes it really fun to use. So as you can see, the majors are actually named after different fairy tales. I can't quite remember about the minors, but I kind of feel like there are story elements in there. But again, I tend to use this like an oracle, so I almost always get into the guidebook. Yes, because that's Glinda. It's so pretty. I love the art style. It feels like it's like drawn with like oil pastel, but gives kind of like crayon vibes, which I think is really, really fun. I think this one could almost be used kind of like how I was saying with the Once Upon a Time. But again, the titles are changed to those stories, so it's not so easy to not incorporate. But I find this one to be one I use just for a totally different purpose anyway. Given the name Inner Child Tarot, I really like using this when I want to be in that childlike space. And it's amazing for that. I love this deck. I love the oversizedness. I didn't say that right, but anyway. Inner Child Tarot. I also love the bag I made for it. Sidebar. Because it comes in a very big box, so I just kind of keep the cards separate. But isn't that so fun? With these like gummy looking stars. Love it. Okay. Oh, let's look at these. Because these are actually not meant to be divination. This is actually a game. And I do not remember what it's called. I think they're like Fairytale. I don't know. I will have a link below to the game because it's one that is very easy to use as an oracle. But I don't know the game aspect, but it's broken up into some different categories. So we've got the backs with this, like a girl and a giant on it. But then there are backs. Yes, I have it split up here. Because then there are some backs with this knight. I don't remember what's what. Oh, okay. These are like objects. And I think they have really just good key phrases. So I tend to use this one in a similar way I would use like Memento Mori. Around Memento Mori, you just have that one object. This, it's like you're working with whatever the word is. And sometimes it's an adjective, verb, noun. I think it's really interesting to work with. So again, this is a card game, but I think it is very easy to use as divination. I think it's meant to be like a storytelling game, which is why it works so well. Sorry about the barking, jeez Louise. So that's one of the sets of cards. But what really made me get this deck was the set with the knights on the back have, I think they are meant to be prompts, but it works really well as an oracle. Beaten, the foul creature was driven out of the kingdom, and the parents were reunited with their long-lost child. I feel like there's just so much to get into. I like the way it kind of makes me think in a roundabout way, question mark. I don't know if that's really what I want to say, but it makes me think a little bit extra of like, how does this phrase relate to whatever my question is, or to my day. I really like this one as an oracle. And again, this is not really, of all of these, this is super not specific to any sort of fairy tale. You could sort of like, from these phrases, be like, oh, I feel like that's inspired by this story, but it is meant to kind of write your own fairy tales, which I think is fun. And I really like this as an oracle. So again, it's a game. I'll have it linked below. Don't remember what it's called. Something Fairytale. But yeah, love it. I keep them together. I do like to use them together, but most of the time I'm bringing it out for that aspect. Alrighty. Okay, we've got 2 more decks. I feel like I'm missing some. So if you know if there's like other fairy tale decks out there, let me know, because I feel like there are some I have that I'm not including and I cannot think of what they are. But possibly these are just the only ones I have, and that could make sense. Anyway, Woodland Fairytale Tarot, Magic, Folklore, and Plants. This one feels unique to me in the sense of it's got more than one theme going on, so it's got fairy tales and plants to look at in here. And what I really like about this one is each of the suits for the minors focuses on just one story and one plant. So you can really kind of just get into that energy throughout the suit instead of kind of switching around stories. Each of the majors has its own story. But yeah, I think that's really, I don't know. I like that. It makes it feel a little bit different. I like in this one, though, that the minors do still have that story element. And I think it's cool to see how the story plays out throughout the suit, because again, kind of like the Kate Forsyth, it feels like it can really get into a lot of theming going on in the story. So I do really like it for that. I love the art style. And again, tying in that plant element, I'm always gonna love. Oh, this is cool. I'm realizing that with all of these that I have here, they really do all serve a different purpose. I was curious to see if I felt that way, because I did one of these videos with my plant decks, and it did end up where I maybe had 1 or 2 where I was like, you know, I don't know if I need this. I think like some other deck has it covered, but each of these really do feel unique in some way. So beautiful. I love this one. Woodland Fairytale Tarot. Alright, last but not least, if I can get this in, okay. Oh, and actually, even more fun, just realized these are all mass market. That's pretty cool. I really do feel like I'm missing something, but I don't know. I think I'm thinking, because I have decks that are kind of like I said, story themed, so I've got the, what is it called? It's the Literature Tarot? That's not it. Can't think of it. But it's more like gothic literature, not really fairy tale. Anyway, last but not least, we've got the Fairytale Tarot by Lisa Hunt, a classic. Now this one, every single card, majors and minors, have their own story related to them. So this is one, when I use it, I really tend to like to just pull one card. Otherwise, I think it gets a little bit much. However, I do think the imagery matches up with the tarot. where you could use it without the guidebook, certainly. I mean, really any of these tarots you could, but I like to get into the guidebook, really get into the story. What I like to do with this one, because, I mean, there's a lot of stories in here for each of them to get their own. So there's a lot I don't know. So if I pull one with a story I don't know, I like to find the story online somewhere or at the library I work at and read it. So it's a slower moving deck for me, which again is unique within this little capsule collection. Because the other decks, it kind of gives you all you need to know within the deck and guidebook. And this certainly does. Like, you get the part of the story that relates to the card. You don't need to read the whole story, but I think it's fun to do that. Really think about the message in relation to that. And of course the artwork is beautiful, as Lisa Hunt's artwork always is. So yeah, this is like a 1-card pull for me. I will pull like an oracle with it to kind of give a focus point, but I really love this as a daily reader, because most of the time when I pull cards in the morning, it's 1 oracle, 1 tarot, and so it's perfect for that. And then throughout my day, I can find the stories if I want to. So yeah, gorgeous. I love those backs. And that's all I got for today. Those are all my Fairytale themed decks. If there are others out there you really like, I'd love to hear about it, especially to kind of think through like, oh, did I actually have that and just forgot? Possible. But other than that, I hope you're having a great day so far, and I'll see you again very soon.